Okay, now I should say the question. The question is over here. Yeah, it's matching. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, guys, for joining about today's seminar. And our meeting will be recorded. And now we are enrolling our speaking task one. And we have here, we have Kainat, we have Navid, we have Tao as well. Tao join us first. So let's begin with Tao first. Hello, Tao. Can you hear me?
Hello, yes,
So thank you very much
I
for
can
joining
hear
our
you.
today's seminar. And we have two different topics today for discussion for our speaking task one. It's called general queries, and we have numbers and history. So let's begin with you. I have a question about number section and history section. I would never ask more than 8 queries in this part. So my first
Okay,
question for
yes.
you: do you often use number to do something?
Yes, of course, I definitely use number for maybe for my work at school because I often mark a student paper, so I use number to count and add. And I when I go shopping, I use number to add the price at the bill. So yes,
Okay.
I often use number daily
Okay.
life.
That's good. Okay. So next question again for you: are you good at memorizing numbers?
To tell you the truth, I'm bad at memorizing number because I cannot even remember my phone number sometime, and
Mhm.
I have to strike very hard to memorize it.
Oh, this is
So
very tough to hear.
I'm
Yeah.
kind yeah very bad.
Okay. So next question again for you: what is your favorite number?
My favorite number is eight because number eight is considered a lucky number in my country, and it's also my birthday, so it's very special for me. That is the reason why I often buy everything in my house in number eight. For example, eight pillows or eight forks for member in my family.
Okay. So another question I have: would you like to have a job dealing with numbers?
Uh, yes, honestly, as I mentioned before, I'm not good at memorizing numbers, so maybe I I don't like any job relating to number at all.
So you don't like a number related to work?
That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's begin with history. I have a question again. Have you ever been to a museum to learn about history?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yes, of course. Have you ever been to a museum to learn about history?
Yes, I have been to some. If my memory serves me right, I used to go to a museum in my city when I was in secondary school. It is a mandatory co-activity to learn history, so we had to go there to maybe to learn some historical lesson
Mhm.
besides reading books.
Okay, that's nice. So next question again for you. Have you ever watched movies related to history?
Yes, I once watched a movie about Ho Chi Minh, president. He was a great president of Vietnam. So we had a chance to watch that movie about him when I was at university. I was a third year student.
Mm, okay. So do you think history is important?
Sorry, I can't hear you well. Can you
Okay,
repeat the
okay.
question?
So do you think history is important?
Yes, definitely. I think it's really important, especially for young people, because they have
Mm-hmm.
to remember that what their ancestors did in the past to protect their country, and they have achievement nowadays. So history is important.
Okay, so I have another question about your childhood. So when you were a kid, did you enjoy learning history?
Ah, yes. To be honest, um,
Mm-hmm.
when I was a student at primary school, history was one of the subjects that I felt frightened at the most, because we often had a huge amount of information to remember, and the lesson was very tedious. So I didn't like history when I was young.
Okay, okay, okay. That's cool. Okay, thank you very much. Those are three questions that I asked you about our spot. Okay, in the spot. So I don't have anything else. Now it's your turn. You can choose someone else with your 8 questions, not more than eight, please.
Okay, yes. I would like to ask Navid. Navid, can you hear
Let's
me?
go on.
Yes, please go
Okay,
ahead.
yes, I have a few questions related to number and history. Let's go
Okay.
to number first. Do you often use numbers to do something?
Yes, of course. Even my single day is not passed without a numbers. I usually use numbers to do counting and to do some maths and equations to solve mathematical problems.
Okay, and what is your favorite number?
Well, my favorite number is six, as um, it's my birthday number, as well as it's a very lucky number for me. When I when I was in my college at sixth semester, I got first position in this semester, so I consider it as a lucky number for me.
Hmm. Are you good at memorizing numbers?
Um, well, I'm good at memorizing numbers, but oftenly I did not I forgot to remember the numbers. Even some even like I forget to remember my passport number sometime. So I'm not good that much at memorizing numbers.
Okay, now let's move to history.
Hmm.
Have you ever been to a museum to learn about history?
Yes, of course. Like 2 years back, when I visited our historical museum, and there I see a lot of different things in Lahore. Like there are swords and there are different shields of our ancestors. So uh, I really like it, and it was pretty much valuable to see about the history of uh,
Okay.
our history of our ancestors.
Mhm. When you were a child, did you enjoy learning history?
Well, when I was a child, so I was quite interesting in learning history because learning a history is easier for me at that time rather than learning a mathematics. So it was pretty interesting at that time.
Okay, very good. When was the last time you read a book about history?
Well, it was a couple of years back, and I read the book about the history of Pakistan, and the author name is Ali Hajwiri, and he is one of the renowned authors of Pakistan. So the book told us some amazing facts about the history of Pakistan, and I love it.
Okay, yes. Did you think history is important?
Yes, definitely, it's very important for especially for our younger generation because they learn the history So eventually they will learn their cultural norms, their ethics, and of course their tourism and the history of their country will help them to make uh, choices which will help them in flourishing their country.
Okay, that's all the question I would like want to ask you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Thank
asking.
you very much. Thank you very much, Tom, for asking your question to Navid. Thank you very much, Navid, for sharing your answer. Now it's your turn, Navid. You can choose someone else with your 8 questions.
Sure. Well, I will go with you.
Okay.
And like first, I will ask some question to you about the numbers.
Mhm.
Uh, like, would you like to have a job dealing with numbers?
Well, I think it's quite difficult for me to have a job like and like to select a number to find out in my profession, my career life. But I would never choose to job like a banker, because I believe a banker have all this opportunity to deal with number regular basis rather than other person. They are counting and they are dealing with number because they are calculating all the money and they are supplying with the demand. So I think this is much interesting. But it's if I speak about myself, so I would never join with those companies.
Okay. My second question from you is that are you good at numbers?
Oh well, when I was kid, I think I was okay with number, but recently I believe this is not like a piece of cake for me, because it's quite dangerous. I'm not able to keep all those numbers in my memory, because it's not like hard drive. This is human brain. It's quite tough for me. But yeah, I'm okay with this number because I have to deal regularly.
Okay. And what is your favorite number?
It's interesting because I would definitely move with one. When I was kid, I found it was very easy to write. It's one stick. I had to draw, then it looked like one. I think that's the secret part. This is the reason I love this number a lot.
Okay. And do you often use numbers to do something?
I believe every person in this universe they use number. Without number, they are not able to count their money. And if we move anywhere, we have to calculate. We have to calculate the transportation fees. We have to calculate every single part with numbers. So I think I'm not like any alien. Then I have to think about a flying jet. Then I could fly anywhere within any like without any money. So I'm not. I don't have this much power. So I have to count my money. So I think this is the much simple way to count if we have calculator. And I think this is the way I have to use the number.
Okay.
Yes. Navid, you are muted.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Have you ever watched movies related to history?
I think it's boring. Yeah, a couple of times I was watching, and that was forced by my dad, so I wasn't able to say anything. During that moment, I had to watch, so I watched when I was my adolescent, not right now, more than 7 or 5 years back. So during that period, I saw.
Okay. And do you think history is important?
I think this is much crucial and important because history could teach us about our past generation, about our country. I believe it's very much significant for adults because they are our future generation. They would lead those countries where they belong. So they deserve to know about their community, their nationalities, their tradition, their culture, everything related to history. So I think this is much dangerous if they forgot all those things. On that occasion, I would definitely say it's very much significant.
Okay. And have you ever been to a museum to learn about history?
Yeah, more than 7 times. Yeah, I was there, but I can say I was there for learning about history. I was visiting them. I was visiting there because I love to watch different area, different monument, different statue, different painting. But I didn't learn anything when I was in museum. Basically, I would say in our national museum. When more than a couple of years back, I was there about an invitation. One of my best friend, he invited me to visit this exhibition about the historical things, but I didn't learn anything. I was standing and I was trying to understand what they were trying to say, but I didn't learn anything. I think this is valueless to learn about anything in their country to visit this like a museum. If they have
Hmm.
any single point out notes, then we'd learn rather than it's valueless.
Okay. And my last question from you is, when was the last time you read a book about history?
Oh my God, this is very much crucial for me. I think this is important for everyone, but I don't have any interest about reading books. If I speak about especially history, then when I was kid, since my childhood until now, I don't have much interest to learn about history because I wasn't able to memorize and I wasn't able to remember. Until now, I'm facing this problem. I don't know how I could improve, and I forgot a lot of historical event and historical like a story about our country. So when I was in my high school, during that period, I was okay, but nowadays I think this is much dangerous for me. So I would never go with the reading books about the history.
Okay, thank you. And that's all the question that I want to ask. Now it's your turn.
Yeah, thank you very much, bro, for asking your question to me. So let's begin with Kainat is here.
Welcome.
Yeah, hello, Kainat. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kainat. So I would ask you a few questions about history and numbers. Are you okay?
Okay. Yes.
Fine. Okay, so let's begin with number first. What is your favorite number?
Actually, all the numbers are equal. Nothing is better than us, but my favorite number is 14 because I was born at 14 August 95. That's why 14 August is my favorite number. And other reason is also that 14 August is also Independence Day for our country.
So I have one thing because your answer was wrong. That's why I'm just sharing. When I ask you this question, so pay attention to the question first. I asked you, what is your favorite number? This is singular number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. This is single number, and you are speaking about 14. This is couple of number.
Okay.
Yeah, double digits, double digit, and one digit. Those are not same. So pay
Okay.
attention. Don't say about your birthday number, like 14 August. You can say, okay, I like one, and sometimes I prefer to use four, but I would go with four.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's begin again. So I have another question. Do you often use numbers to do something?
Yes, I often use numbers. In fact, I have to use number daily because I'm a banker, and the whole day I have to deal with the numbers to calculate the money and the overall system on the computer. So I have to deal with the numbers at the whole day. Otherwise, and one reason and one other method is I have to use numbers to dial numbers to call any friend. That's all.
Okay, okay, that's cool. So you are a rich person. Daily you are counting huge amount, but those money is not for you.
These are all for consumers.
Yes. So, anyways, if I I was banker, then I would definitely say a different way about this question. I would use this answer as well. Okay. Anyways, are you good at memorizing numbers?
Yes, I'm very good at memorizing number. When I was a kid, then cell phones are not common, and
Hmm.
the most of the time PD cell phones were used. And my father is for of the country. They are in Spain, so I remembered their number, and most of the time I dialed their number.
So you played the role like a notebook, like in notebooks.
Yes, yes, but when I was a kid, not at all. No.
Okay. Okay. So next question again for you. Would you like to have a job dealing with number, not like banker, any other jobs?
No, I don't like job dealing with the numbers because sometimes these numbers feel you like such a boring, not colorful. So that's why I really don't want to deal with the numbers.
Cool. Okay, that's okay. But I have another question. Like, how we could say number is colorful?
I mean to say this is not area of my interest.
Okay. Okay. So let's begin with history. Now, I was kidding with you. Don't take it serious. I was kidding. So about history, do you think history is important for you?
Yes, I think history is important. However, I feel it very boring, but it is very important to represent our culture, our nation's culture, our tradition. So that's why our great leaders sacrifices. So just due to these reasons, I found that history is very important. Otherwise, I don't like history, and due to history, even I don't like history teacher.
So what about young generation? Do
What?
you think it's?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I said like, what about young generation? Do you think it's significant for young talent?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I said, what about young generation? Do you think it's much crucial for young talent or young generation? They should learn history.
Yes, they should learn history because if they don't learn history, then they will not know about our past, our great leaders' sacrifices, that how they sacrificed for us, what our culture represent. So that's why they must have to learn history. But I'm talking about myself. I don't like history.
Okay, okay. So when you were a child, did you enjoy learning history?
Not at all. I remember that when I was in matriculation, like you can say before 10 years ago, then I have to learn history because I have to attempt my history paper, and I just hate the dates, especially dates of instance, which I have to learn, and it was a critical time for me. So I just don't want to remember that time.
Hmm. Okay. Have you ever watched movies related to history?
I often don't like movies, and especially about history. Oh my God, I really don't like. But before 3 months ago, I was at home and I was alone and really feeling boring. And at that time, internet was not there. I had to watch a movie which was present at my desktop, and that was a historical movie. But I enjoyed this movie a little bit.
Okay. So last question for you. When was the last time you read a book about history?
Actually, I like reading very much, but I don't have any interest in historical books. But before 4 years ago, I went library with my friend, and then I read a book about history, and I find a little bit interest, but I couldn't complete the reading of my book. I left the book.
That's cool. Okay. Thank you very much, Karna, for sharing